Hey everybody, welcome back to Eternal Midnight. I'm Chad. I'm here with Santino tonight. What's going on, man?
So going on, Chad, how are you?
Good. Okay, so continuing on with Harry Potter month. Tonight we are talking about what some people consider the black sheep of the entire franchise. I forget, how do you refer to it, as the book that shall not be named?
Yes. Well, Kevin refers to that. I have my there. Cursed Child, has its positives and has its absurd amount of negatives, but we're gonna get into that. So yeah,
So basically tonight what we're going to be just discussing is I have not read the book yet. So I'm basically just wanting to talk about probably the most controversial, would you say, thing about the Harry Potter franchise right now? Or would you say that there's more that J.K. Rowling has been doing since the movies and initial seven books have ended?
J.K. Rowling, okay, here's the thing. She has every right to control the franchise. It's her show. I mean, like she literally created this entire world, and she can do whatever the hell she wants with it. She can retcon and stuff like that. And then that's the thing. Like she has said a lot of stuff in regards to what happens after the 19 years. I mean, like even before, like he said, I'm not sure if you saw that probably the most shocking one, which was before Hogwarts had toilets. People would just dump their waste wherever, and they vanish the evidence. So
Hmm.
yeah, I don't know why we need to have that kind of information.
Right,
But
because it almost makes you wonder, if they did that, why did they ever use toilets at all then? Why not just always whatever?
yeah,
Um,
no, but
so
that's
yeah, what would you say is more controversial? This book or some of the changes we'll do another show maybe on some of the changes she's made.
yeah,
Like I know we've discussed before the changing of Hermione's race.
yeah, yeah.
So what would you say is worse? Some of the changes she's made or this book?
Okay, wow, that's a really tough
I
question because
mean, for you, and this is just a personal question for you as a fan, which do you find more insulting?
hmm,
Like for your personal taste, if that makes sense.
the thing is, I don't find the book that really insulting. I mean, like, okay,
Okay, so
it's
it's more of the changes
not
she's
insulting,
made
like the book.
later.
Yeah, the Cursed Child really is. It's a story that is not as good as the Fantastic Beasts movies or as good as the Harry Potter books at all. It really is a. It really is. It feels like okay, Cursed Child really feels like it's an afterthought. Like it's a half-assed, half-baked attempt at getting people to read Harry Potter again or watch a play. I mean, it's the story. I mean, like usually like when J.K. Rowling, in her prime when she was writing books 1 to 7, because that's her prime, she really she really thought everything out. Like she really planned this. I mean, like for example, Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone can stand on its own as a fun kids solo adventure movie, but when you get to Chamber of Secrets and Chamber of Secrets onwards, you can tell that she planned this from the beginning. Like some stuff stuff she did plan. Like for example, the destruction of the diary in Chamber of Secrets, right? It
Hmm.
revealed in Half Blood Prince that diary holds a soul in holds the soul of Tom Riddle, right?
Right.
So that's the Horcrux. Like she thought of the Horcruxes before. I mean, like you can even argue that the end game was Harry would always have to die because Voldemort latched a piece of its soul into him. So like all that setup is in Chamber of Secrets. Like it starts there. So like
Hmm.
see that she's like from day one or at least book two, she was really like setting up and in this one, Cursed Child, it really feels like an afterthought because there's no setup whatever because okay, the story of Cursed
So I was gonna say, let's before you dive into that, let's start from the beginning. Like because I know there's a lot of people out there, like myself included, who are fans of Harry Potter. I've heard Clip Notes version of the story, so just even if it takes a couple of minutes, go ahead. Just go over a brief synopsis of what Cursed Child is, when it starts, when it ends, who the characters are, where Harry, Hermione, and Ron are. Just go ahead. Let's get a good synopsis in.
Okay, so basically it starts with it starts where we left off, 19 years later. The book, forgive me, I haven't read it in a while, but this is I remember.
No, you're good. Yeah.
I know, I think I know what I'm talking about, right? So the story starts off where we left off. So like the 19 years later part, it's happening, and Albus Severus Potter gets on the train to Hogwarts and he leaves. And basically, this is where the characters are at. Harry's working with the Aurors, I believe, and Ginny is working for the newspaper. Hermione at this point, like, she's Minister of Magic. She is like
Wow.
Yeah, she is the Minister of Magic. She's running the whole government, and Ron is helping her out. And I'm not sure if I know at this point Ron left the Aurors to work with George at the joke shop. So basically, this is what happens.
That almost goes completely against his character. It feels like.
I mean, yeah, it kind of does. I mean, no, well, he does. I mean, like he left the Aurors because I guess he was tired of the game and he didn't want to, fight anymore. So he decided to take a more quieter job and all that. It's fine. I don't see the problem with it.
Mm-hmm.
Really, I mean, like, yeah, okay, yeah. Ron left the Aurors because he wanted a peaceful life because he was tired of fighting and he was tired of going to war and all that. And he just was tired of all that. So that makes sense. Continuing on, the story hitches on the fact that Albus Severus Potter discovers that in a conversation he overhears in a conversation that Amos Diggory is mad at Harry for not being able to save Cedric. Like, he hears it.
So he waited over 20 years to get angry over something like that.
Yeah, that's why that's why I'm telling you, this story is not as well.
I'll put it this way, because I guarantee I'm gonna hear, because this book is full of retcons, right? From what I've heard.
It's not. Yes.
Okay, and what I'm gonna do is I'm not gonna interrupt and say what I just did again, because this will take forever then.
Yeah. So yeah, the Amos Diggory interrupts. Sorry, Amos Diggory talks to Harry like years after the death of Cedric and says that I blame you for my son's death, and this is like, you should have saved him and all that. And Harry, of course, he asks Harry to try and bring him back, but that's impossible. So like he doesn't bring him back. So Harry, so of course Albus Severus feels bad about that, and it's bad that basically Harry doesn't let Amos Diggory see his son again. And that's the thing, like, that's like the weirdest motivation. So what Albus Severus Potter and Scorpius Malfoy, because this story is about them. They are the main characters, Albus Severus Potter and Scorpius Malfoy. What they do is they break into the Minister of Magic office, they break into Hermione's office, and
I find that almost. I know I said I wasn't gonna interrupt, but I find that almost so impossible.
That is,
after everything Hermione did in the initial 7 books, I find it almost impossible that she could be duped by a couple. And what is this? Is this when they're still in their first year?
No. This is after, like, so, like, okay, so I forgot to mention that. So the story picks up. The story, of course, starts with them with their first year, but then it does a fast forward montage-ish version. So like it just fast forwards until until like their 6th year, and at that point, Albus Severus has been sorted in Slytherin. So like he's out, like, oh my god, Harry Potter's son in Slytherin. That's so sacrilegious. Like, okay, well, after all the race prejudice and saying that, Slytherin's not all that bad, people still think that because Albus Severus is in Slytherin, he's a bad guy. So like he's the odd man out. Like, cause like James and Lily, the other children of Harry Potter, are in Gryffindor.
Mm.
Albus Severus is the only one that's in Slytherin, so he always feels like he's the odd man out, right? So he befriends Scorpius, and they are and they're friends, and that basically at around like year 5 or year 6, that's when he
Oh, okay. So it's near the end of their schooling.
yeah,
Okay.
that's when he hears
I was
the
gonna say a couple of first years duped Hermione Granger. Yeah, okay.
no yeah no. It really I'm gonna get the book just to make sure that's the case. Because
Okay.
if that was first year, then I would have really been pissed, more pissed off than I am now. Okay, hold on. Okay, yeah. So as I'm looking for it, it really feels like yeah. So as I look at it, there is a montage scene. I remember that correctly. Yeah. So there's a montage scene where they grow up. So yeah, Albus Severus and Scorpius they're older when they break into Hermione's office and steal. Okay, so they break into Hermione's office and they steal the time turner, the
Mm.
time turner remaining, like the last one.
Okay.
Yeah, like all the time turners were destroyed in the battle in number 5.
Mm-hmm. I remember that.
So the last time turner remaining is the one Hermione used in year 3.
So I thought she gave that back to Dumbledore. So like, did he keep it or?
It was given back to Dumbledore, but when Dumbledore died, she became Minister of Magic. It fell into her possession.
That's what I mean. So Dumbledore never gave it back to the Department of Mysteries, right?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So moving on. So she's got a time turner.
So yeah. So she's got time turner. So this is how it works. They Albus Severus and Scorpius, because they feel bad for Amos, go back in time to year 4 of Harry, Hermione, and Ron's year. So the Goblet of Fire year. And they do their best to get Cedric eliminated from the tasks, so that the they do their best to get Cedric eliminated from the tasks, so that once he's disqualified, he doesn't have to go to the maze, and Voldemort doesn't have to kill, Cedric Diggory.
Mm-hmm.
As I drift. Okay, so this is where the plot really kind of goes haywire, and in my opinion, and doesn't really make sense whatsoever. Okay, so Albus Severus and Scorpius Malfoy do their best to sabotage Cedric in the first task. And remember, the first task is the dragon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the first task is the dragon, and this is what happens. And admittedly, the concept I do like. So Albus and Scorpius knock out Durmstrang boys. They knock out Durmstrang boys, and they take their robes to disguise themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't have Polyjuice, they don't know how to make it, so they disguise themselves as Durmstrang boys. And they do the job. They sabotage Cedric. He gets disqualified. He lives. They go back to their own time. So at first everything seems normal, but then there's a super big change. Ron didn't marry Hermione.
Mm.
And how is that? Because when Ron didn't marry Hermione because Hermione saw Albus and Scorpius sabotaging Cedric. So
Mm-hmm.
she got suspicious of the Durmstrang boys. So when Victor Crumb asks her out to the Yule Ball, she declines and says, "No, I'm not going with you guys because I'm suspicious about you."
Right.
So that leaves the opening for Ron to ask Hermione to the ball. So in that timeline that they change, Ron asks Hermione to the ball, and they go to the ball together as friends. Ron and Hermione have one dance. Then Ron dances with Padma Patel, the girl he originally danced with in the old timeline.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep.
So Ron falls in love with Padma Patel, doesn't fall in love with Hermione. Hermione gets bitter and becomes basically the female version of Snape. She's in this timeline. She's cruel. She's not Minister of Magic. She's cruel. She's just mean to all the kids because she's bitter for the fact that Ron fell in love with someone else. Ron marries Padma. The daughter of Ron and Hermione are not born. Rose Granger Weasley and Hugo Granger Weasley are not born. They're non-existent in this timeline, and there's a new kid by the name of Panju, who is Ron and Padma's son. So basically, two kids were erased from the timeline, and Ron and Hermione are not together.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and Hermione becomes the bitter version of Snape because she's so bitter the fact that Ron never loved her and fell in love with someone else. So she becomes just like bitter guy now. So of course this doesn't sit well with Albus and Scorpius. So they go back again to the first task to retcon what they did and try to save Cedric again. So they try to save Cedric again in the second task, I believe. So yeah, they save Cedric Diggory in the second task by humiliating him and ridiculing him. So that, and because of that, they go, and once that's done, Cedric gets eliminated from the second task. He's ridiculed. Ron, Albus and Severus go back, but this time Albus doesn't appear, and only Scorpius goes back. Why? And this is where it gets, in my opinion, really, really, really stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happens. Because Cedric Diggory was humiliated in the second task, he turns bad. And because he turns bad, in the final battle at Hogwarts, when Harry comes back, Cedric Diggory kills Neville Longbottom. So Neville Longbottom's not able to kill Voldemort's snake Nagini.
Mm-hmm.
Chain of events, because Voldemort's snake Nagini is not killed, Voldemort wins, Harry dies, Ron and Hermione survive, they fall in love, but Voldemort reigns supreme.
Okay.
That's the domino effect, apparently, that Cedric Diggory has.
Mm-hmm.
Which is stupid because, like, really, that one thing leads to all this other stuff. So basically, Scorpius is the only one alive and who knows what the original timeline is, and the only one who can help him in this new timeline where this world is controlled by Voldemort is Severus Snape, because Severus Snape is headmaster at Hogwarts and he didn't die. He didn't get killed. Because there was no need, right? Because so Severus Snape, Scorpius says that, I know your darkest secret. I know this because from the original timeline, you died, but everyone else lives. You loved Harry's mother, Lily. So I beg you to please. I wouldn't know this if I wasn't from another timeline. Please help us. And so Severus Snape reveals that, you seem legit. So he shows the fact that where Ron and Hermione are hiding, and basically, they get the time turner and they travel back to fix it in its original timeline. Like they go back in time to fix everything. They don't save Cedric. They don't save Cedric at all. They let Cedric Diggory get killed. So when Cedric Diggory goes back to when Cedric Diggory gets in the maze, he dies. Voldemort lives, and Harry kills Voldemort in the endgame. That's the timeline that they go with.
Mm-hmm.
And so supposedly all's well and good, right? But here's where it gets topsy-turvy again.
So, like, what point are we at in the book now? Like the middle, near the end?
Around in the middle.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Because there's a whole final battle that happens, because this whole time Ron and her, I've never mentioned this before because it's not really important to the story until now. Harry and Albus are being aided by this girl named Delphi, and we don't know who Delphi is until this point, where she steals the time turner and reveals that she is Voldemort's daughter. Like this second.
Oh God.
The second plot comes out of nowhere, and she's gonna use the time turner to go back in time to make sure that Harry dies and Voldemort lives. So
do they explain how he has a daughter or no?
The explanation is Voldemort and Bellatrix had sex, and she was kept away.
Oh my God.
Yeah, which is weird, right? So,
jeez. And when did this take place? When was Bellatrix pregnant from book 5 on?
Never mentioned ever that Bellatrix was pregnant because Bellatrix gets killed, right, by Molly Weasley in the final battle. So where in that point did Bellatrix have a kid?
Exactly. Okay.
Where in
So
that?
it's stupid. So basically, Voldemort's daughter is trying to revive him at this point.
Yes, Voldemort's daughter wants to go back in time to save. Well, I'm fact checking to make sure that I got it correct.
Nope, you're good.
Yeah, I'm fact checking to make sure that's correct. So yeah, yeah. Delphi Riddle is the daughter of Voldemort and Bellatrix. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's so stupid, but this is the story that J.K. Rowling wants to go with. So the story is that Delphi Riddle goes back in time to try and save Voldemort, and this is like the quote unquote final battle where Harry, Ron, Hermione, Draco, and Albus Severus and Scorpius go back in time to stop Delphi from going to kill Harry when he was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that's how it happens.
So what? So overall, what was the point of this book? What I mean, aside from like a spin-off time travel adventure, I mean, like what was the point? Like, did the main character learn anything from all this? Or did what was the point?
The point, I guess, was, in my opinion, like they
I mean,
wanted.
they literally just added a bunch of stuff and retconned a bunch of stuff just to tell a time travel story that ultimately wound up really not changing anything, really. Did it?
No, the nothing changed. Nothing changed. Nothing.
Aside from Voldemort's daughter getting killed, I mean, or what
Yeah,
was that it?
Yeah, Voldemort's daughter gets killed, and that's it.
Did Harry's middle son Albus did he learn anything from this? I mean,
I guess he learned to love his parents more because the relationship between him and Harry is strained. But really, the status quo is not changed at all. I mean, like, this is why it's really considered the black sheep and the story that shall not be named, because nothing happens. It's just literally a time travel story that begins and ends in this story, and that's it.
mm-hmm.
And this is and I really don't want to say this at all because my God, I love the Harry Potter series to death, but it really feels like this entire entire play is a cash grab.
It feels like it because now I haven't seen the play. You haven't seen the play, correct?
I haven't seen the play.
Okay, so here's what I'm wondering. This whole thing sounds the whole story seems very convoluted. I don't. I'll throw this out to any of our listeners. If you've seen the play or know anyone who's seen the play, let us know if it worked or not. Because it just seems just even the way you were explaining it. And the reason I wanted to do this episode is because this also extends out to a lot of other people I know who like and read Harry Potter. I don't know anyone who genuinely says that they love this story. So anyone out there listening, do you love this story? I mean, is it just for a lot of you? Is it just like something that's you read it and own it for completionist reasons? Because just from the way you were explaining it, Santino, it really doesn't sound like you're much of a fan, are you?
I'm not a fan of this book at all. I mean, like, I think I would retract the original statement I said earlier. I think as I reminisce, I don't like. I think this is more. I think this is more insulting to the series than anything that J.K. Rowling has said.
Okay.
Yeah, I really think, in my opinion, it's not a good story. I mean, like, not good in terms of Harry Potter standards, really, because it feels like it's such a. The whole point is this: and this is what I got from Tumblr. One of these guys said it. 19 years later, at the end of the book of Deathly Hallows book, at the end of the Deathly Hallows book, it says the scar hadn't burdened Harry for 19 years. All was well. All was well. There is no more threat to the Wizarding World. It is over. It is done. It is finished.
So, yeah, it was. I mean, it was basically like it was the return of the Jedi. It was, yeah, there might be more dark wizards in the future. There might be more bad stuff that's happening, but this story is done.
Yes. Yes, it's done. It's finished. There's no more. It's like Lord of the Rings, Like,
yeah, Return of the King. There was more adventures coming for this world, but that story was done.
Yes, it's over. It's like it's kind of like Endgame. I mean, like there'll be more MCU movies in the future, but Thanos and his threat to the entire universe, it's finished. There's no more threat of that happening. So that's why in Cursed Child really is like sort of the black sheep, because like, are you telling me that Voldemort had a kid and we're gonna face him again, or at least some remnant of him? That doesn't make any sense.
No.
It just feels like an afterthought. It feels like, I'm sorry to people who are insulted, the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, where how did the Empire rise again from ashes?
Well,
they're destructive.
No, I agree. Well, I mean, yeah, I agree 100% on that one. We'll obviously hit that harder in a couple months. I think we're doing Star Wars.
Yeah, but I'm not getting.
But no, I'm agreeing with you. I'm 100% agreeing. Where it's like, yeah, you can like it, but the story was done. At the end of Return of the Jedi, the story was done.
Like, this is how I would have done it. Like, the Wizarding World is so huge right now. I mean, like, it's a huge world. It's not anymore just Harry Potter and his friends. The Wizarding World is so huge. You can go literally any point in time and make a good story. There have been people who there have been people in the Tumblr fan base who have been, or in the Harry Potter fan base in general, who have been clamoring, waiting for a Marauders storyline, like the first Wizarding World War. What happened there? What were James, Lily, Sirius, Remus, and Pettigrew up to? Like, how were they fighting? How were they integral to the first Wizarding War? How did that happen? The more school year of the Marauders. Like, where did they? What were their classes like? Who were they friends with? That's just a rich background that's not delved into at all. Or,
I mean, I am glad that they're doing the Fantastic Beasts timeline, though, because it gives us a chance to see a lot of characters that we're not even going to question why they're not around when we hit Harry and Hermione's, or when we hit the current Harry Potter timeline, because it's like they're either just as old as Dumbledore, or they've been killed, or they're in America.
Right. Exactly. So the thing is, for example, the Fantastic Beasts storyline, I mean, like, those who don't like it, that's okay. More power to you. If you don't like it, that's fine. I personally like what they're going with. I like the story they're going with. I like the fact of new characters. And the thing is, if you want to continue the story of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, you may do so, but 19 years later should be end game, done. Like, anything after All Was Well is not All Was Well. Like, personally, this is a really great thing. I would have wanted to know how the trio dealt with the PTSD and the trauma of having to fight in a war at 17 and them dealing with it. Like, how did they get where they are now? How did Hermione become Minister of Magic? How did she have her marriage with Ron?
And the funny thing is, all that, almost none of that needed to be told, because it wouldn't be interesting. You know what I mean? I mean, why? That almost seems like, I mean, I don't know. I mean, why would I want to watch that?
Well, no, well, it's not something to watch. It's like something to read. Like I've read a
Well,
couple
even
of.
read. I mean, I get what you're saying. Like that almost seems like something like a diehard fan would want to know more of.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
like for someone like me, who's
yeah,
not as into it as you are, it's like maybe I'd ask you to tell me about it, but at the same time, it'd be like if it's just these books or movies about grown adults getting together or getting their jobs, I'd be like,
yeah.
what's the actual conflict here that I'm supposed to be interested in?
Yeah, so that's the thing. So exactly like for dire fans like me, I wouldn't want to see that. Like maybe how do they deal with how they deal with the war or the PTSD after. That's just me. But
Hmm.
um, there's so much to pull from other than that. Like as I mentioned, the Beast storyline, the Marauder storyline. You Harry's story, it's done. It's over. It's like it ended book 7. It should end there. Like he is only one important part in this entire wizarding world. Like you can literally make a story out of any other world. Make up your own characters, but you don't have to continue Harry Potter just because his name is the cash grab that gets people into seats. Like
Hmm.
yeah. So in my opinion, Cursed Child, is it a good story? Yes, as a standalone. Like if you just like ignore all the shit that happened before and focus on read it as a solo, then yeah. But as a Harry Potter book, it's so
So would you? So
meaningful.
like you said, you found it insulting now that we've talked about it more, and yeah, I completely agree because it's not even like as bad as the Star Wars sequel trilogy because at least that gave us a trilogy and it gave us more time to follow these characters, whereas Cursed Child is just a one-off and it's just like that's it. Boom, you follow Harry's kid for one book and then it's over with.
Yeah,
And then
exactly.
everything's right back to the status quo.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing changes. It reverts all back to normal. By the end of the book, people were in the same place where they were at the beginning of the book.
Hmm.
Yeah, the only difference is that maybe Harry loves his son more and they bond more, and that's a good
See,
side.
I always hate when that's all we get out of time travel stories is everything is exactly the same, but two characters like each other more. I mean, like that's honestly that's why I hated the fourth Shrek movie because it didn't do anything except Shrek was like, "Oh, I realize I do love my family." It's like that was it. We needed a whole movie for you to realize you loved your family.
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's dumb. It's dumb to the point where you just because that happens, doesn't mean that. I mean, like when you have a time travel movie, like even Endgame changed the status quo by the end of it. Like Stark died. He
Oh,
died.
definitely. No, Endgame. I may not be the biggest fan of the movie like you are, but Endgame actually did something with its time travel.
Yeah, like the consequences of what happened after reverberate, forever. Stark got killed, Black Widow died, the Avengers are an entirely new setup of people that don't have the old crew. The old crew's gone. So the thing with Kershal is nothing happens. No one important dies. No one important sacrifices himself. It's just basically a look at alternate timelines and
Hmm.
what could have happened, and that's it. You're back to normal. It's like there's no. I mean, like, okay, the people who are watching or listening, more power to you if you love the story. Go ahead, man. Go to town. Like, love it. Really, I don't really give a damn. To each his own. But really, it's just bad.
I don't know. I don't really know anyone who's a Harry Potter fan who and like I said, if you are like Santino was saying, if you are one of those people who genuinely loves this, please let us know down below. I mean, please feel free because we want to spark discussion down in the comments if possible. Tell us why you loved it and who knows, maybe we'll do an episode where we have you on and you can debate some of the points or something. Get another video going out of this. But if you're one of those people who loves it, let us know. But yeah, I don't really know anybody who can say that they love this one. I really don't. And Another thing that we haven't brought up yet. Um, do you think that this might have been better if they'd tried to make it a novel instead of a playwright? Because the book is literally it's just like the script notes, isn't it? Like, do you
They
think
can,
it could have been better if it had been written as a book first instead of a play?
they can make it a novel all they want, but if the story is the same thing, it's not gonna. It's
But
still
that's what I mean. They also wrote it to be a play. So I'm saying if they'd planned it as a book first, do you think they could have done different things? Because when you're writing something as a play, like we'll just use Endgame as an example. The story that we got in Endgame, you probably could never see that as a play.
yeah,
But this was written as a play first, correct?
yes.
Okay, so do you think if they'd planned it as a novel, they could have changed a lot of things so
Possibly,
it could
yeah.
have been better?
Maybe, yeah, it would have been better. Maybe if they a novel, and maybe if J.K. Rowling, look, if J.K. Rowling, I said at the beginning of the video, J.K. Rowling has her rights to all the entire Wizarding World. Like it's her franchise. I think if J.K. I don't mind a story with a new threat to Harry, Ron, and Hermione 19 years later, but she has to think it out. She really has to think out what the story is, what she's gonna do. It has to make sense. Make it a new threat to the racing world that's not related to Voldemort.
Mm-hmm.
Like make it. I'll accept even the fact that Death Eaters weren't captured in Hogwarts after the battle. Make it a threat to them. Make it like a terrorist group that they have that the trio have to dismantle. But don't make it Voldemort or his daughter again because that
What's
Voldemort
the point?
he's dead. Anything that remotely is even related to him, it's over. It really reminds me more of sorry to say this, reminds me of Palpatine.
Yeah.
They build up they build up Palpatine for like 6 movies. Darth Vader sacrifices his life and kills him. In the next 2 movies after that, he's back. Or some stupid clone of him. See, that's why. Like, yeah, sorry to say, sorry, Star Wars fans. It's bad storytelling. Like,
It's true. It's really true because this was not the Palpatine saga.
okay, I'll equate this. Cursed Child is the rise of Skywalker for Harry Potter fans. That's just what it is, right? That is what it is. And it's a story that
Oh no.
it's a story that is a one-off that you shouldn't care about. That doesn't involve anyone from the original cast, and it's just stupid. The characters or the new characters are cool. Ray and Ben are cool. Albus and Severus are cool, but they don't do anything that makes them unique. They
Mm-hmm.
time travel, big deal. So what? Hermione and Harry did that in year 3. And it just banks on the fact that basically this is a nostalgia trip, like, oh, remember this, remember this, remember this, remember this. Same thing with Rise of Skywalker. Oh, remember this, remember the remains of the second Death Star. I know you do. Like Palpatine has its like quotes from Revenge of the Sith that makes it like so, like, oh, remember that. Not. It's basically sorry to say it, a cash grab.
Mm.
And
So, let's see. As we're getting ready to wrap it up, to someone like me who I haven't read it yet, outside of your synopsis you gave,
yeah,
is this something you would suggest? Who would you suggest this book to? Like hardcore fans who haven't gotten around to it yet? Would you suggest this to casual Harry Potter fans?
I mean, okay, this is what I suggest. Like, as a diehard, people who are listening, anyone who is a diehard fan, this is not a good book. But like, in my opinion, it's a book that is, in my opinion, required to read. Like, this is required reading because everyone, as I said before, in this world we live in, everyone has their own opinions, and your opinion and your belief is unique to yourself and what you believe in. So, in my opinion, even whether you're a diehard or casual, read Cursed Child at least once, because
Okay.
read it once, and if you don't like it, welcome to like the 90% who don't like it. Right? If you like it, more power to you. Like more power to you in the 10% who do like it. I'm not saying
Okay.
10% is bad or they're inferior. They just like the cursed child, and really, that's fine. Who gives a damn if you like it or not? I mean, like, that's your opinion. So
Yeah.
so exactly.
So
So
give it a read.
yeah, give it a read if you really want to read it at least once, and then if you don't like it, donate it. Or sell it or whatever. But just read it once, and if you don't like it, you don't like it, and that's okay. That's completely fine. And if you
Yeah,
like it,
and
also
like we say, if you like it, good. You
good.
might have never known. So
Yeah,
it's a good thing that you at least tried.
yeah, exactly. But in my opinion, Cursed Child, this is just for me. I like concepts that were introduced. I don't completely hate the book like a lot of people do. I like concepts that introduced. I like seeing different timelines of what would have happened if it went like this, if it went like this. I surprisingly I like the two main characters. I like the chemistry they have. I like Severus and Albus and Scorpius together. I just don't like what they did with the story. The main problem for me always will be the fact that we're getting another threat related to Voldemort again when he has been the main bad guy for 7 books and he's the threat again. Like it's not the same. It's dumb.
Even the Fantastic Beasts books aren't doing that, or
Yeah,
movies.
yeah, they're not doing that. I mean, like Grindelwald, yeah, he's the bad guy because he existed during that time, but not Voldemort. Like Voldemort, yes, he's a bad guy and he's cool, but it's like bringing back Darth Vader from the dead or Palpatine just for the sake of nostalgia.
Oh man. So basically we've equated to Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is the Rise of Skywalker of Harry Potter.
Yes.
Wow. Then I know I won't like it because I don't like Rise of Skywalker.
No, I give you the synopsis, the plot, and that is what happened.
I mean, it's worth a read because, like I said, I told you I think last weekend or something, I found somebody who was selling it. By the time I got around to asking for it, they'd already sold it. No big deal.
Yeah.
But no, it's one of those books where once I find it, for a decently cheap price, I'm gonna grab it because I do want to give it a read.
Yeah. So yeah, Chad, I know you're just a casual Harry Potter fan, like you're not really diehard like me. But
Hmm.
as I said, give it a read it once over, then donate it. I mean, like, but you know my style on it. You know how I have the problems with storytelling, and I just feel like Rise of Skywalker and this, they're the same thing.
Hmm.
They're the same thing. There are new characters who are introduced like out of nowhere, and they go on this nostalgia trip around the Wizarding world or the Star Wars world. They fight a bad guy who was supposedly dead, or the bad guy's legacy, which was dead a long time ago. This they fight the bad guy. It ends. The status quo never changes whatsoever, and everyone's happy. Hallelujah. The end. That's it. So yeah.
Wow. Yeah. So, well, Santino, I think that wraps this up. Um, yeah, we've given our final thoughts. So, yeah, anyone out there, we've said it a few times. I'm going to say it one more time. Anybody out there, if you're a fan of this, tell us why down below. Seriously, let us know what it was about this you genuinely enjoyed so much because we don't do this to bash fans of things. We really don't. We do this just, I wanted to do this episode mostly because I've never read it and I wanted to hear Santino's thoughts on it. And I thought for those of you out there who haven't read this yet, hopefully Santino maybe his description of it pushes you to maybe want to read it sometime. Like I said, I'm gonna try to do because a synopsis of something can only do half of something. It can intrigue or push you away, but you're never going to truly know what a story is until you watch or read it yourself, no matter what. So if you enjoy Harry Potter, like you said, give it a read. Give it a read. And if you've seen the play, let us know how the play was. I genuinely want to know because I don't know anyone who's seen it.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I heard that the acting was good. Like,
Okay.
It doesn't save the movie at all, but
Well, yeah, the acting didn't save Rise of Skywalker either,
yeah.
but but enough Star Wars bashing from us for one day. But no, Santino, thank you for that. Thank you for breaking down the book for us, letting us know what was going on, your thoughts.
Yeah, and guys, in all honesty, I haven't read the book in some time, so if I missed the details or I got some details wrong, please feel free to comment down below. I haven't read it since 2016, so please, I might have forgotten some stuff. So
Hmm.
feel free, to let me know. All right.
Definitely. So, guys, thanks for tuning in tonight. I hope you enjoyed listening to us discuss Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. Harry Potter month is continuing this weekend. We got the episode coming out where we're going to be discussing years 4 through 6. So make sure you tune into that. That one's going to be a little longer than usual. And we've got a couple other Harry Potter themed videos we're going to be talking about during the month of April. So tune in. I hope you guys are enjoying everything. Any suggestions, drop them below. Questions, anything, spread the videos around. I'm just thankful to all you guys who are our listeners. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, guys. See you around.
Bye, guys.